Starting things off with Jason Zidle, brand manager at the Lenbrook Group of Companies, representing Dali at this event, giving me a breakdown on Dali, the company itself, and some of the Epikore speakers that were announced at this event.
Good.
So I am here with
Jason Zidle, the original Jay-Z, brand manager of Dali North America.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no problem. So I just got introed to these wonderful speakers,
Aren't they wonderful?
but you were telling me about like the different ranges of Dali. Without getting too much into the weeds, is there like so this is second from the top?
It is. This event that we're at right now at Park Avenue Audio in New York City and soon to be at Simply Stereo in Chicago. This is the culmination of a 3-year plan that started with Core, the big, mighty, the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champ of the speaker industry.
Yeah.
And the reason a company does a model like that is, well, of course you want to sell it and say you have something really cool out there, but when you do something like that, it's all about what you learn from the research and development and figure out how to bring it down through the line. So 2022, we saw Core. 2023, we saw Epikore 11, the first model of the Epikore series. And now 2024, they have released Epikore and Rubikore. And as you detect from that last syllable there, Core, all trickle-down technology of what they learned at Core.
Okay. These are, I guess, more for like you have like it's almost cost no object, but like they're made for a much larger room, right?
You know, I would know, not sure if I would say necessarily a larger room, but definitely finer electronics.
Yes.
You know, they definitely can fill a large room. Dali is really room-friendly and easy to place. But something like the Epikore 11, it does want some elbow room. It definitely appreciates a big room, but really just so you can appreciate this giant, magnificent soundstage. But they're very room-friendly, and they don't necessarily need a large room. But for hobbyists, and let's face it, this is a hobbyist kind of speaker.
Oh, for sure.
For the people that want, you know, to get the best out of every level, this series is really something that allows you to hook it up to, you know, the highest end technology and really, really appreciate every link in that chain.
Now, is this a stereo only line, or is there also like a center and a subwoofer and sound?
That's a great question, and the long answer, the short answer is yes. The long answer, I hope, is maybe no. They are just pairs of speakers at the moment, but the response has been really overwhelming, and a lot of people have said, no, I'd love to use this in a home theater system. So if I was looking into a crystal ball, it wouldn't surprise me if they came out with a center channel somewhere down the line. But for now, they have started with towers and bookshelves. Great question.
But you could, I guess, conceivably go with like the 11s as your front, left, or right, and then maybe for your center, you can go. Is it the 9?
That is the 9 right
So you could like put the 9 behind a screen potentially, right?
You absolutely could. It's a great question. My answer to it was a lot of these processors will also have 2 outputs sometimes for center channels. So I've said, hey, maybe just use a pair of the 3s. Space them out just a little bit, have that behind the wall, and that's a really nice way to go. A lot of this technology is actually available in their Phantom series, which is the CI series. And if you don't want to make a very invasive cut, they make an on-wall bracket. So they have a monster called the S280, about 5 feet tall, 2 feet wide, and that would really make a fantastic center channel and would allow you to put it right behind an acoustically transparent screen.
But it would almost be a waste putting these behind the screen.
You kind of want to see them, don't you? I mean, there's a certain amount of bragging rights to a speaker like this.
I think so.
I agree. But you know, if a purist were going to ask me the question, that's probably what I would say.
Okay, that makes sense. And so then there's like test tracks, and then there's like your favorite tracks. And so I always like asking this question just because we always get so much into the weeds with like what music are you playing, how are you playing it. So like if you were to sit down, say with the 11s, what would be like there's like the test track, but then like there's your favorite track currently, and then what's your song of the summer? Let's do all 3.
You know, that's a really, really good question. When we go to shows, I really try to proudly say that we play music.
Yeah.
People go in and they hear test tracks and they're unfamiliar and they may go, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
But is it making that emotional connection? I don't think so.
No.
You know, my dog's name is Jagger, so you can figure out where I got his name
Yeah.
from. There's a lot of stuff that I love listening to that may not be, you know, the defining demo track.
Yeah.
But it hits you. It gives you something. You know,
Yeah.
when you play Sympathy for the Devil and it just sort of fills up that room and grabs you. I like that. And I think it's really important to remember to have
Fun.
fun. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing is just because we're tired of hearing it, somebody could be listening to it for the first time. You know, you see people cringe when you pull out Hotel California, and I get it, believe me.
Yeah.
But for people that have not heard it on a real system, it still can strike a chord. I don't play that track specifically all that often.
Yeah.
You know, I'll fall back on a lot of Holly Cole.
Yeah.
I like that. If I had to nail down a track, are you familiar with No Respite, No Sanctuary?
I probably won't be. They might be.
There, well, all you guys
I'm
know it
I'm on the
absolutely
other
right.
end of the spectrum just because I grew up as a club kid. So like hip hop, soul, drum and bass, like that's what I actually listen to. So like
Well,
when I'm at an audio show, I have no idea what they're playing. I have zero idea.
but don't you hate that? I really think it's important. We actually have a really great piece of electronica. Not my favorite kind of thing, but it's so dynamic, and it really shows what a speaker can do. So,
And a lot of those tracks push a speaker because it's redlining the entire time.
absolutely,
You know?
exactly. That's a great point that you bring up, and it's a good test for a speaker. I think it's really key to read the room and figure out what to play for them.
Yeah, don't play me Diana Krall. Just not doing it.
You know, well,
No
at-
hate, but
at an
I'm not-
audio show, I think it's a rule you have to play her at least every 15 minutes. But
That's when I leave.
yeah, no, I hear you. But read the room and figure out what you have out there and try to play to it.
Okay,
but
so
let's-
then your favorite, so like, I guess, what's your, like, you're outside, it's summertime, you're barbecuing, what are you playing?
Summertime, outside, barbecue, what am I playing? I love covers of almost any kind.
Yeah.
So I'll just do
Except for like Kenny G, right?
Well, are we recording this? Wait a second. You know, I love covers, and I'll do a deep dive on any sort of Qobuz, and let it choose certain things for me when I look for certain covers. You know, if I'm talking about addressing a certain age clientele, the Love soundtrack by the Beatles,
Okay.
spectacular. You don't get a better recording for old classic stuff.
Yeah.
Really one of my go-tos, the track Because. Phenomenal. Something
Okay.
I enjoy a lot.
And then, is there like, what, are you married?
I am.
What did you get married to? What was that song?
That's a great question. So, we
Like,
had...
was there a walkout and then a slow dance song, or was there two different ones? Like,
Oh my. It's I can feel it in my fingers. Love is all around.
okay.
So that was one of the songs.
I doubt your wife is gonna watch this video.
Oh
Okay.
well, she does deep.
So we'll
dives
edit
like
out
that.
we'll edit out the pause.
There was that. There was Baby I Love You, but the version by Ramones, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That one too. She's Colombian, so we like a lot of Spanish stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And then, looking forward to the future, is there a direction that Dali's going to be moving into, you think?
That's a really good question.
Is that something you can't really speak to? Or is it?
If I knew, I would tell you absolutely everything and deal with wherever the cards may fall.
Yeah.
But I think what you're seeing here is a tip of the cards
Yeah.
of what's been going on out there. What these lines, I don't want to say they replace because they're really completely new. I might be Jay-Z, but I'll quote LL Cool J on this and say,
Yeah.
don't call it a comeback.
Yeah.
These are not replacements for the previous models. These are completely brand new. And I see a lot of the technology that is integrated here coming even further down the line. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
When you do a no holds barred and products with price tags like this,
Yeah.
I don't want to oversimplify anything and say it's easy. There's a lot of engineering that goes into this, but bringing it down to a level that is accessible by our paychecks,
Yes.
that's a harder job. And I know that they're working hard on doing that, making sure that they can bring it to the masses and do their best to make the world a better sounding place.
That's awesome. And that's a great way to wrap that up. So
Fantastic. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for being here.
no problem.